Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums, and this is the September 2021 Sheetload of cards. Every month, Alicia from the Call Me Crafty Al YouTube channel comes out with a sketch and supply list and cutting guide so you too can download the Sheetload of cards and make whatever the yield of cards is. This month the yield is 8 cards, and the fabulous thing about this was you were able to use 6x6 paper pads. And I had a really adorable Doodlebug paper pad that I was itching to use. So I show you here me cutting down some white cardstock for the card base and also different color cardstock for the matting on the cards. So I have these base colors of a pink, a blue, a turquoise, and an orange. And here is the paper from the 6x6 paper pad. So I grabbed 8 different patterns. And what I do is I stack them all together because my cutter can cut that many at a time. I don't recommend it unless you know that your cutter will cut that much. But this was a rotary cutter and I just love it. It's fabulous. It works really well. So now I'm separating the papers and matching up the papers to the card base. Obviously I'm going to have 2 patterns to each card. And you see on the left hand side I've got the yellow with the yellow cardstock and the pink with the pink cardstock, obviously. I think I play around with the pink and decide that I'm really not nuts about it because that's a really reddish pink that I've got there. And I'm just not that happy about it. So you'll see me later, I will take it and cut down a different pink. So yeah, there's a different pink in there. So I'm laying out the cards now and just trying to get a feel for the card sketch before I glue it down. And then once I know that it is what the card sketch is supposed to be, I glue it down. Now incidentally, you do not have to stick to the card sketch perfectly. It really is, as Alicia says, a jumping off point. It gives you a great sketch to start with, but as you put the cards together, you might want to make the sentiment area bigger or smaller, or add more embellishments or less. But it's a great base. Now, some months you'll notice that I do it exactly as shown, and other months I do change it out a little bit. This month I added an embellishment off to the side. Her card sketch shows an embellishment off to the left of the sentiment, but I changed it just a little just because that's what worked for the materials I have. So again, I'm putting everything together and making the shell of the card. I love this Doodlebug paper. The little bugs, I think this one's called Fairy Garden. Little bugs are just adorable. There's ladybugs and bees and just cute ones. And then I grab my ATG, and a lot of times I use ATG when I'm making cards. If I have embellishments, sometimes I glue them down, but ATG works real well for the cards. But you might see sometimes I grab the art glitter glue. Now here I am stamping. The stamps that I used was the Avery L Everyday Circle tags. I did not use the circles, obviously. I just grabbed the sentiment, happy birthday and thank you. And I just wanted to do 2 because I've made 8 cards, 2 of each set of color. So I wanted to do thank you on one and happy birthday on the other. So I stamp first with the color ink, and then I stamp with the Versamark and put on clear embossing powder on each one. I like the touch the embossing powder gives, and plus, who doesn't love watching the magic of using your heat tool to set the embossing powder? I use the stamping platform by Tim Holtz Tonic Studio. I don't know if you can get that one anymore, and I really need to clean it, but it works real well for me, so I like that. So I do 4 of one and then switch to the other and do 4 of the other. It's probably more steps than it needs to be. I probably didn't need to use the Versamark embossing powder, but sometimes my stamp pads just aren't wet enough to hold the embossing powder. So I just like the Versamark just for insurance. Then I don't have to go back and fix it or do it over. So after I've stamped the 8 sentiments, then I put them together. I just use a little dot of the ATG to hold it together because it's just temporary. I'm not going to keep it there for a long time. And put one on the top of the other, sort of bottom justified. I mean, it goes to the bottom more than the top. And this card sketch calls for a diagonal cut. And it looks so much better if they're cut exactly the same. So I put them together with the ATG and do the cut and do all 8 of those. Then I go ahead and sort of just rotate the top layer from the bottom layer, and it comes apart because the ATG is not strong. And I did use the glue here just to offset it. So you see a little bit of the base color on the right hand side and the bottom. Then I'll put it on the card. Before I put it on, I cut a little bit so you can see about a 1/4 inch sliver off the top, just so it follows the sketch a little better. And the little flag sentiment fits within that center set, the center area. It looks cute. It looks cute just as it is, and you don't really need embellishments, but I decided to put on more. So I had cut previously, I purchased from Leah Griffith a cut file that matches this doodle. I think it was from Leah Griffith, but anyhow, it's a cut file that matches this Doodlebug collection, and it's just the little caterpillar sitting on top of mushrooms, got a couple of flowers. So I added that to it. And let me tell you, that was a tedious process to make. I wish I had recorded it, but then again, it probably would have been the most boring video you've ever seen in your life. I take my little flag punch and use some of the scraps. This is a trick I do so many times. Just make flags of different various widths and heights. And then when all said and done, I take those flags and put them on the inside of the cards. And it just adds a little touch of something on the cards. Now, I might go ahead and put another sentiment on the cards before I send them out. But for now, I'm going to leave it blank until I decide who's going to get which card. So here I'm putting the flags on it, and I usually do sets of 3. I do 1 long, 1 middle, 1 short, and as I said, a couple of different widths. It's a great way to use up scraps as well. By the time I'm done, all I have is teeny little scraps, not much. So then I'm going to show you all of the cards. So for each set I used 2 sheets of 6x6 pattern paper, obviously cut it down and followed the guideline real well and reversed them. And the sentiments are the same, obviously happy birthday on one, thank you on the other. And I love how it came out. So again, if this is something you're interested in, go ahead and go to the Call Me Crafty Owl YouTube channel. The link is in the description box. And follow her video and she'll tell you how you can download this month's sketch supply list and cutting guide. And don't forget, there are other people on her collab team. Why don't you check out all of their videos or go to their Instagram or blog and see what they did with this month's sketch. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this process video. Have a fabulous day.